Hi students, in the last class we were studying the chapter Nutrition in Plants. In that we were studied what is nutrition, what are the different modes of nutrition and the food making process in green plants, that is photosynthesis. Okay students, so in the today's class we are going to study about the different colors of the leaf, other modes of nutrition and how the nutrients are replenished in the soil. These things we are going to discuss in this class. Okay students, so let us begin with the different colors of the leaves. Students, as you may have observed the different colors of the leaves. The different colors of the leaves. The leaf may be green in color, red in color, brown or yellow in color. Where do leaf colors come from? Yes, leaf color comes from pigments. Then what are pigments? Pigments are natural substances that are produced by leaf cells. There are three main important pigments. Those are chlorophyll, carotenoid and anthocyanin. If the leaf color is green, then there will be a presence of pigment called chlorophyll. Okay students, if the leaf color is yellow or orange or brown, then there will be a presence of carotenoid pigment. Then if the leaf is red in color, then there will be a presence of anthocyanin pigment. Anthocyanin pigment. So you can observe here the different colors of the leaf. So here you can see yellow leaf, green, red, brown. Okay students, here if it's yellow, then it contains carotenoid pigment. Here chlorophyll pigment, and in the red leaf there will be a presence of anthocyanin pigment. Okay. Then synthesis of plant food other than the carbohydrates. Yes, as you have already studied students, that in the photosynthetic process there will be a end product, that is carbohydrate. The plants can also manufacture the products other than carbohydrates also, that may be protein and fat. Plants need proteins and fats besides the carbohydrate. Proteins and nitrogenous substances which contain nitrogen. Although nitrogen is present in abundance in atmosphere, but plant cannot absorb the atmospheric nitrogen directly. That plant gets nitrogen from the soil. Certain types of bacteria called rhizobium are present in the soil. What they do? These rhizobium convert the gaseous nitrogen which is present in the atmosphere into the usable form, and it releases into the soil. Plants can absorb these soluble forms of nitrogen along with water and other minerals through their roots. Sometimes farmers add nitrogenous fertilizers to their cultivating field to fulfill the need of nitrogen in the plant. In this way, plants get fulfillment of nitrogen along with their nutrients. After the fulfillment of all the nutrients in the plants, they can synthesize proteins as well as fats. Modes of nutrition in non-green plants. Heterotrophic mode of nutrition in plants. Some plants do not have chlorophyll. Yes students, there are some of the plants, they do not contain the chlorophyll. They cannot synthesize their own food. How do they survive and from where do they derive their nutrition? Yes, like humans and animals, such plants depend on other plants for their food. So they use heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Here some of them are called parasite. What is a parasite here? A parasite is an organism which lives on or inside the body of another organism and takes shelter and food from that organism. Okay students, parasite, it is an organism which lives inside or on the body of another organism and where it gets its shelter as well as its food, and the where the organism in which the parasite lives, that is called as host. Plants that do not have chlorophyll are called non-green plants. Non-green plants means which do not have chlorophyll. The plants which live on other plants for food are called as parasitic plants. Insectivorous plants. Some of the plants eat insects. Such plants are called as insectivorous plants. They trap and digest the insects. Peach plant is the example of an insectivorous plant. In peach plant, the leaf is modified to form a peach-like structure. The bright color of the peach makes it very attractive to insects. Inside the peach, there are several hair-like structures. These hairs direct the trapped insects downwards. When an insect sits on the peach of the plant, the lid closes and the insects get trapped inside the peach. The insect is then digested by the enzymes secreted by the cells of the plants. Yes, you can see here the peach plant. So here the leaf is modified as a peach-like structure, and when the insects come and sits here, it gets trapped, and the hair-like structures in the peach, they moves the insect downwards. Okay students, downwards, and he in the peach where it is digested by the enzymes. Okay students, so these plants, they can feed on the insects, so they are called as insectivorous plants. So this is another example for insectivorous plants, that is Drosera. Drosera. Drosera plant. This is a peacher. Why it is called as peacher plant? It has a shape of peach. Okay, when the insects sits here, it is trapped in the peach and the lid is closed. Okay, and the enzymes which are present in this peach, they digest the insect and they can absorb the nitrogen. Okay, thus the insectivorous plants can feed on the insects. Yes, cause of eating insects by the plants. What is the cause? The soil of marshy land is deficient in nitrogen. Plants living in marshy areas do not get nitrogen from the soil. Their nitrogen need is fulfilled by the sucking the juice of insects. Venus flytrap, Utricularia, Drosera, Rafflesia are the other examples of insectivorous. Okay, the plants which grow in the marshy land, there is a deficiency of nitrogen. Okay, then they cannot get the nitrogen from the soil, so there is a need of nitrogen. To fulfill that need of nitrogen, they suck the juice of insects. Here are some of the examples of insectivorous plants. Venus flytrap, Utricularia, Drosera, Rafflesia are some of the examples of insectivorous. So this is the Venus flytrap. Venus flytrap. When the insect come and sit here, it closes its parts and it digests it by enzymes and absorb the nitrogen. So thus they can fulfill their need of nitrogen. Then saprotrophs. Yes, as we have already studied about this. These are non-green plants. For example, agaricus, that means mushroom, yeast and bacteria. These are the some of the saprotrophs. Saprotrophs get their food from dead and decaying organic materials. They grow on decaying organic matters such as cow dung, wood, bread, etc. Saprotrophs secrete digestive juice over the decaying materials and absorb nutrients from them. This is called saprotrophic mode of nutrition, and such mode of nutrition animals are plants are called as saprotrophs. So you can observe here, this is a type of fungus which grows on wood. Okay, which grows on wood. Where it secretes the digestive juice and it fulfills the nutrients. This is a type of fungus which grows on a tree, saprotroph. And you have also observed that the growth of fungus on a bread. Okay, this is a bread. The here the black color represents the growth of fungus here. Okay, students. Then symbiosis or mutualism. Symbiosis is the combination of two Greek words. Sym means with and biosis means living, which means living together. In symbiosis or mutualism, two different types of organisms live and work together for their mutual benefit from each other. They share shelter and nutrients. For example, lichens. Lichens are composite organisms composed of fungus and algae. Okay. Fungus is a saprophyte and algae is an autotroph. The fungus supplies water and minerals to the cells of algae, while algae supplies food prepared by the photosynthesis. Okay, students. What symbiosis or mutualism? Here it is a combination of two words. With, one is sim and another one is biosis. Sim means with and biosis means living, which means living together. So here is the example of light chain. It is the light chain which grows on the trees. Okay, students. Here light chains, it is a composition of composite organisms of fungus and algae. It is a combination of fungus plus algae. Fungus supplies water and minerals to the algae, whereas algae supplies food to the fungus, that is prepared by the photosynthetic process. Okay, such the by mutual combination they get their nutrients. So this type of organisms are called as symbiosis or mutualism, symbiotic organism. Here another example, a bird sitting on the back of a rhino is an example of a symbiosis. The bird gets worms to eat while the rhino gets rid of those worms. The birds sitting on the rhino. The birds eats the worms on the rhino, whereas it helps rhino that it get rid of those worms. So this is a mutualism. This is a light chain. replenishment of nutrients in the soil. Have you ever seen farmers spreading manure or fertilizers in the fields, or gardeners using them in the lawns or in the pots? Do you know why this is done? Yes, plants absorb minerals and nutrients from the soil, so their amount in the soil keep on declining. Fertilizers and manures contains nutrients such as nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus and etc. These nutrients need to be added from time to time to enrich the soil. Some fungus live in the roots of the plants. Roots of the plants provide shelter and food to the fungus, while fungus provides important nutrients to the plants. This is also a mutualism. Because of continuous farming, nutrients keep declining in the soil. Hence, to replenish, to reproduce, those nutrients, fertilizers are added to the soil. Plants require a lot of nitrogen to grow and to be healthy. Although a lot of nitrogen is available in the atmosphere, but plants cannot absorb nitrogen in gaseous form. There is a bacterium called rhizobium which lives in the root nodules of legumes. Legumes such as gram, moong and etc. These bacteria can absorb nitrogen from the atmosphere and make it available for the plants. Rhizobium cannot make its food. Hence, it provides nitrogen to the legumes, and in return, legume provides them food and shelter. This is an example of symbiotic relationship. This has great importance for farmers. Fields in which leguminous plants are grown from time to time do not need addition of nitrogenous fertilizers. So these are the legumes. So you can observe here legumes which are nodules of leguminous plants, that may be gram or moong. What they do? They fix the atmospheric nitrogen in the soil, so the soil can absorb that nitrogen and it supplies to the plant. In turn, the legumes also acquire their food and shelter from the roots. So this is the example of symbiotic nutrition or mutualism. Understood? These are the legumes. This is the rhizobium. Understood, students? Usually, crop plants absorb a lot of nitrogen and the soil becomes deficient in the nitrogen. Plants cannot use it in the manner they can use carbon dioxide. They need nitrogen in the soluble form. Hence, addition of fertilizers and manures enriches the soil. The bacterium called rhizobium can take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into the usable form. Okay, students. Here, that rhizobium helps in the fixation of nitrogen. In turn, the plants provide food and shelter to the bacteria, that is rhizobium. They have symbiotic relationship. They can reduce the use of nitrogen of nitrogenous fertilizers where leguminous plants are grown. Most of the pulses are obtained from the leguminous plants. Understood, students? So in this chapter you have learnt that most of the plants are autotrophs. Only a few plants are parasitic or saprophytic. They derive nutrition from the other organisms. All animals are categorized as heterotrophs since they depend on plants and other animals for their food. Hope you understood the chapter. As we have discussed in this today's class, that the colors of different leaf and other modes of nutrition. Thank you, students.